25 points today, which is good news. A little rebound from that 400 points down the other day. If you remember, I mentioned namaste. Just stay calm on the markets. They usually come back. And also, Bitcoin is on a raging tear right now. And as I have been pointing out in my Monday morning quarterback newsletter that you should be getting, it's free, no credit card, no strings attached. Just email me at jt@liquidlunchtv.com. And you get the Monday morning quarterback newsletter for free for all my friends. Just tell me your name and what state you're in.
Now, after this week, when football season ends, is it still going to be called the Monday morning quarterback, or is it going to be called something else?
It is. The Monday morning quarterback is like a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek, like, Monday morning quarterbacks are always saying, well, they should have done that. Right. They should have ran it instead of passed it. My Monday morning quarterback is my Monday morning musings on how I'm going to be quarterbacking my investment thoughts, my portfolios, and other things. It's my outlook for the week. So I'm being a real Monday morning quarterback, up, ready.
I don't even think the term is apropos anymore because you have Monday Night Football now.
True.
So if you're commenting on the Monday Night Football game and said you're a Tuesday morning quarterback.
Fair enough.
But they also have them Thursday Night Football. So really, you're going to be a Friday morning quarterback and then comment on the whole previous week's worth of misplays. But
that's why he's the managing editor.
That's right.
And I'm just the host.
That's right.
So what else is happening, my friend?
All right. Well, a ton of news. We're going to get to it all. The president just signed some blockbuster legislation minutes ago. There's a ton of news on more people dying from the coronavirus. A lot of news from the campaign trail. A lot of news with the mustache in chief, John Bolton. We're going to cover all of that and then some, but none of those are what I'm speaking, frankly, about.
Just start speaking frankly, I would assume.
All right, very good. Well, then I will tell you, yesterday, John, we saw some very interesting numbers from the Congressional Budget Office.
Yes, we did.
They released their January 2020 budget and economic outlook, projecting the return of trillion-dollar deficits as well as high and rising debt and deficits over the next decade and beyond. Now, I'm just going to give you a couple of the highlights because when people's eyes glaze over. Once you get million, billion, trillion, people don't even understand that.
Blah, 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 blah.
All right, so now the budget deficit. Now the deficit is how far short we are in a year. That's not the total amount of money we owe. It's how far short we are in a year. The budget deficit will total $1.02 trillion this year. That's 4.6% of GDP. This is the first trillion-dollar deficit in history not caused by the Great Recession.
Let's ring the bell on that
Deficits will further rise under current law to $1.7 trillion by 2030. Now, under current law, if nothing changes, debt held by the public will rise from a post-war record of 80% of GDP today, so we're already at a post-war record, to above 98% by 2030. Now, this represents a $14.3 trillion increase from $17 trillion today to over $31 trillion in 2030. Now, do you realize eventually interest rates are going to go up? Do you realize the debt service that we are going to have to pay every year on $31 trillion of debt? Now, that money is essentially just flushed down the toilet. It's not used to pay one soldier. It's not used to build one highway. It's not used to give health care to anybody. Not used to help pay anyone's college tuition. That's money that is totally gone. And the thing that makes this so alarming, with these numbers in the Congressional Budget Office coming out yesterday, why is no one in Washington talking about it? Not a single politician, not one Democrat, maybe not one Republican, maybe with the exception of Rand Paul. And no one is talking about this. Now, Democrats don't want to talk about it because if they were forced to address this on the campaign trail, then they'd have to explain, well, maybe it's not the right time to give everybody trillions of dollars worth of free health care, free college tuition, and a whole bunch of other free stuff. Republicans don't want to talk about it because then they'd have to confront some very ugly realities about the cost of their tax cuts, and maybe they haven't stimulated the kind of economic growth that's going to replace $1 trillion worth of deficit spending. If this doesn't call for a need for a new political party in America, or at the very least, an electorate that actually cares about the debt, I don't know what does. 27 years ago, we had Ross Perot. Who do we have these days? Who's calling out, aside from the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget and Maya McGuinness, who is calling out this deficit spending
No
by
one.
both parties? Nobody, nobody, nobody. And what makes it even more disconcerting is that you, watching this, don't seem to care. You keep electing
Exactly.
politicians, Democrats and Republicans, that don't do anything about the deficit, that don't do anything about the debt. Why? Because they're going to give you your candy. Maybe your candy is free health care. Maybe your candy is tax cuts. Maybe your candy is preserving your favorite tax deduction.
Frank, I
Maybe
gotta
your
help you.
candy is forgiving
I gotta help you here, pal.
student loan debt.
I gotta help you, bud.
You need to get serious about this. Maybe you're like Mertavius and you don't care how much the government spends compared to how much it takes in, but eventually your kids or your grandkids are going to be left holding the bill for this. You're already holding the bill.
Okay.
You don't care about yourself. Maybe you'll care about the future.
All right. That was not 1 minute and 30 seconds, by the way. But
Well, how
I just
long
want
was
to
it?
help you as my partner. Some of the things you're saying, you're awesome on the news and everything else, but I don't want to misreport things. We're not, if rates go up, we're not going to be paying more on the past debt, just so you know.
Well, no.
Just so other people are educated too.
Right.
If rates go up, we're selling 10-year and 20-year and 30-year Treasury bonds, bills, and notes, mostly to China right now. So that has a fixed rate.
Well, that's a good idea. Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. That's our biggest fear. Geopolitically, our biggest fear is China's our biggest debt holder. Right now, they show up to our auctions and buy more treasuries because they believe in us and they need us to keep succeeding. So we're okay. They're a net buyer. If they stop buying, we would go into a tailspin like you've never seen. The market would be down 5,000 points. If they actually showed up to a treasury auction and said, we've had enough, and this stuff that we have we don't want anymore, we actually want to sell some, then there would be a run on the banks, we would have the military in the streets, and China could easily take over our entire country. But the interest on the interest is the problem, but China just keeps subsidizing that for us.
but
When you
I'm
say the
talking about-
candy, the candy is our government not diversifying our portfolio of treasury buyers and letting it be concentrated
Well, yeah,
with our largest enemy.
I've done whole frankly speakings on that very subject.
Yes, I'm
but
with- I'm with
not
you,
just
but-
talking about the current debt, though. I'm talking about the
future debt.
that we're going to tack on between now and 2030
It's a big-
if these numbers hold.
It is a big point that people don't really understand, and they seem to be happy that they feel like they have more money in their pocket and no one's looking at, what's happening inside the sausage factory. But if you really think about it, that's what's happening all around the world. So there's this new economy developing of these shadow debit credit money where they net settle with each other in fake money because
Yeah, right.
everyone's printing money.
Exactly.
China's loosening the reserves on their bank reserves, so they're letting their banks take more risk. Central banks everywhere are printing money. So we're all
On
this consumer debt
borrowed
right
money.
now is okay because they're spending and they're financing that stuff at lower rates. So that does stimulate the economy. But the big boogeyman is China is still a net buyer of U.S. treasuries. That's what funds the deficits. So, most people I know, if they had a printing press in the basement, they really wouldn't be worried about how much they owe to people because they can just keep printing more dough to pay everyone.
That's exactly right. Hey.
Whatever the minus is on the machine, that no one's counting.
I'm
that.
surprised you haven't tried that with us
I
yet.
wish. I mean, I got one of those really good laser printers. So I don't know. Maybe if things get really bad, we might have to, or a 3D printer and make some gold. Because I got to tell you, with the coronavirus, people are scared. There's some fear, fright, and hysteria out there. If you ask me, China's also playing games because apparently, it's Chinese New Year, so all their factories are closed, their banks, everything is closed. China's shut down, okay? And they have, the corona outbreak is upon us. So they want to scare the crap out of the rest of the global economy while they're taking some time off, which they've done a fantastic job of, if you ask me, because usually, when China has issues, they don't care. They let millions of people die. All of a sudden, they're scared that 45 people died, or now 160 or something like that. I know the number's going up, but I've been saying it for a few days now that people think that the Corona beer is the cause of the coronavirus, and that is not the case. but there is an article out there supporting what I thought, Frank, from Vice News, where they're saying a disturbing number of people think that the coronavirus is related to Corona beer. And all of these Google searches are up like 1,000%. Is coronavirus from Corona beer is like a trending topic. So we're going to have on Dr. Braverman a little later on, Dr. Eric Braverman a little later on. He's the founder of the Path Medical Center in New York City. We're going to discuss this coronavirus. It's Wednesday, so the dynamic duo of Johnny Burnett and David Eisenbach will be here to mix it up. Zen Sams is with us, as she is every single Woman Wednesday. Chris Burns, and we're going to kick it off talking about Trump's big rally last night and what's happening with the impeachment, with Republican strategist, former spokesperson for the California Republican Party, Jen Kearns, is going to be here with us also, Frankie. It's quite the day you have arranged for us, my friend.
I have indeed.
So also Sarah Johnson Kaplan, relax, coming back at you right after this with Jen Kearns.